Full stop. Before we continue on, this podcast is made for adults by adults and is strictly 18 plus. The following episode includes sexually explicit content that will be acted out in full, and you may not be ready to hear your favorite One Piece characters in such sticky situations, so I suggest you skip this one for now. Come back and hang with us when you grow up. And now, on to the show. Quiet for intro?
Mm-hmm.
Don't say if it's quiet for intro.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
What up, South Blue Sluts? You're listening to the Wildest Podcast, the side of the Grand Line. Besties, have you ever watched Grey's Anatomy or General Hospital and you thought to yourself, man, I'd fuck that doctor? Yeah, me neither. However, I have said that while watching One Piece. It's time for One Piece Atrosh.
Bum, bum, bum.
Welcome to One Piece of Trash, the podcast where we make fan fiction a fan reality. A little bit about the project. The actors can choose whether or not they want to read the scripts beforehand. And these actors said, kinda. So this is not a cold read. This is going to be a lukewarm read. They kind of skimmed it before. All good with me. The actors have been instructed to just have fun with it and make commentary as we go along. Today, we will be reading Frustrations of the Job by Marco the Phoenix, written by one of my favorite authors, GhostScript. This is a one-shot, so this is a complete story with no other chapters. Let's get into the summary, author's note, and tags. Author's note. It says, another short and spicy one-shot since there's not enough bottom shanks in circulation currently, and it's killing me. I need reading material. Please. GhostScript, I think you put enough bottom shanks in circulation to, officially turn the tide. So yeah. I don't know what it is about that redhead's booty hole that you just love so much, but we'll talk about that when we do our interview.
I only know Shanks as a bottom, to be completely honest. Now. I'll be real, because I don't know the show, so I only know it from GhostScript stuff. So I'm like, all right.
Boy is a bottom. The summary. Marco bandages up Shanks and gets a little extra on the bedside manner. Ooh. Tags. Akagami no Shanks, red-haired Shanks / Fushicho Marco the Phoenix, who is my baby's daddy. Nobody touch him. That's mine. Inappropriate use of a doctor's office. Love that. Age gap. But it's not that bad.
Yeah.
I don't think the age gap is that terrible. Tag 4, anal sex, our favorite sex. We have plot, what plot? Porn without plot. And I'm going to add my own trigger mention for some light mentions of statutory, but I feel like it's not that big of a deal. But I wanted to be responsible and make sure that people knew that they're going to mention it.
Good to have.
All right. Let's introduce the cast. Cast, I would like you to say your name, your pronouns, who you are playing, and build your perfect baked potato.
Ooh, okay. Hello, my name is Julian. I will be playing Shanks. My pronouns are he, him. And I guess, the perfect baked potato is you add the butter, you put a little bit of chives, you take some bacon, you chop it up and you put it on top, add a little cheese, and then just a tiny dollop of sour cream because you don't want too much.
No, right.
And then, you just let that all on top.
Yeah, that sounds good. That's the classic.
Maybe add a little more chives at the end because I do like me some chives.
Chives are good. That's the classics. Classic baked potato. I'm doing this for the British audience. Take notes. You're doing it wrong. You're eating like it's still the fucking Great War, and you need to stop it. It's 2025. You raided the world for spices, and now you just don't want to use them because they're not in fashion. Put it back into circulation. So we're building baked potatoes today because you bitches are over there putting tuna on beans, and it's pissing me off. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're right, and you should say it.
Thank you.
Yeah, right. Yes, yeah, I agree. No, I agree. You're right.
Hello, my name is Benny. My pronouns are he, they, and I'll be playing Marco. And a baked potato for me, I'm not putting any beans on it, first of all. But yeah, start with some butter, maybe some salt and pepper, some cheese, and then this might be controversial, but I like A1 steak sauce on my baked potato. Yeah, and then some sour cream for sure, but I think more is more with sour cream.
I don't think the A1 steak sauce is that controversial since you would eat a baked potato with a steak.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like, I can totally see that. I don't eat meat, but A1 is a good steak sauce.
It's good with mushrooms when you're making
Yes.
like a portobello mushroom steak. I use that a lot.
Yeah, that's good. Oh, that sounds great, actually.
Tricks my
Jules.
brain into being like, this is a steak.
That sounds great, Jules.
Thank you. I've been made fun of in the past for saying that.
No,
so
that's valid.
No,
That's
yeah,
valid
no,
for
yeah.
real.
So thank you for
All
that.
right. And brings back to me. So my name is Jazzy, and I'm going to be the narrator today. I'm glad I don't have to do any character voices because my voice is fucked up from being somewhere last night. And my perfect baked potato, I have something different than everybody. I want broccoli and cheddar sauce, not thicker than soup, but with the same kind of deal. Make a roux, broccoli, cheddar, and shrimp. And I want to put butter on the potato, let that melt, kind of stir it and fluff it up, and then pour the broccoli, cheddar, shrimp mixture on the potato.
My God.
That is my...
Ooh, that's so fancy.
Yeah,
yes, man. I love decadence. I like to tell this to people. I eat for pleasure. I purely eat for pleasure. Like, yes, I like my healthy foods. I love fruits and vegetables. But, like, I eat for, like, texture and taste and fun and enjoyment. So.
That's fair. Because some people just eat just because I need the sustenance, but no.
Some people only eat enough to stay alive, and like they're cool with that. But me, I take a great deal of pleasure in like eating food.
Yeah, I've heard someone who doesn't like to eat at all. They would prefer that they could blend everything and drink it.
I have heard
that bums
this.
me out that someone
that
would
is so
think that.
wild to me.
Right? They'd like, I don't want to eat. I don't want to think about it. I just want it blended, and so I can drink it and have the sustenance. I'm like, oh, that sounds no fun.
Yeah, I've heard that. Like, some people just don't like eating. Me, I love to
It's
eat.
a shame. Yeah, I love it.
Big fan. All right. And now, without further edging, I give you Frustrations of the Job by Marco the Phoenix, written by GhostScript, read by Jazzy and the 2-Bit Berries. But I'm going to rename us for we're going to be called Benny and the Jits. Benny!
I love it.
Listeners, as you know, every single person involved in this project is somebody that I know personally. I have seen them act. I love them and we're friends. Benny is the exception to this. After the show aired, Benny actually emailed me. He reached out to me asking if I would give them a shot at being on the show. And at first I was like, not really, because it's not really what we do. And I just kind of didn't know how to manage somebody who would be recording from a distance. But I was like, well, let me just hear you read anyway. Let's see you audition. I was really, really happy with the work that Benny had put in. I was like, you know what? Let's see what we can do. So yeah, I'm very, very excited for it today. This is going to be the first time that we have done a recording like this, and everybody welcome Benny to the OPOT family.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to do this with you guys.
And yeah. Let's go ahead and get started. It starts with Marco.
Are you fucking kidding me, Shanks?
Marco removed his glasses to pinch the bridge of his nose.
I told you it was never happening again. I shouldn't have touched you in the first place, for so many reasons.
Shanks stared back at him dumbly before standing up from the exam table. Marco thought he'd made his point. Shanks's wrist was bandaged up, and his offer of returning the favor by way of some deep throat. Deep throat is in quotes. That's really funny to me. Some alleged deep throat. Is that the name of the guy who snitched on Nixon?
That was the guy. Yeah.
Deep
throat.
Deep throat. Yeah, I'm an informant against the government, and my name is Two-Handed Twist Spit on the Tip. Let me get back to this. Shanks's wrist was bandaged up, and his offer of returning the favor by way of some deep throat was firmly refused. No matter how semi-hard, just the words had made the poor, struggling doctor. To be fair, he had held out for so long, no matter how many times Shanks had teasingly bent over in front of him, or suggestively eaten some phallic-shaped food just to get his heckles up. What if it was like a whole cucumber?
It's like he's just like.
The dick fruit.
Oh my gosh. So that's a deep cut. So there's like this, if you don't know what, like I get that reference. If you don't know what this is, there's this comic of like Usopp. he finds a devil fruit. It's shaped like a dick, and he immediately puts it in his mouth. And I'm just like, that wouldn't be my first
Instinct.
That wouldn't be my first instinct. But Usopp eats the dick fruit and absolutely fucking destroys Nami, and I think also Robin.
Yeah, that sounds right. It's been so long, but I don't know. It came to me.
Came.
Yeah.
Nice.
God. Anywho, until one night at Shocky's when he was, I'll go back a line. To be fair, he'd held out for so long, no matter how many times Shanks had teasingly bent over in front of him or suggestively eaten some phallic-shaped food just to get his heckles up. Until one night at Shocky's when he was feeling particularly lonely and in walked Shanks in some short shorts and a ripped-up tank top, already a few tequilas deep and leaning all over him. No man is that strong. No man is that strong. That sounds so severe. He knew it was a bad idea. Shanks was too young. He was kind of sort of the enemy. And he was the kind of lay you could get addicted to. So many had suffered before him. Some, of which he wasn't going to name names, had even succumbed to his seductions before he was of age. Why wouldn't you name the names?
Yeah, right? You feel like
They should be on a list, maybe.
They need to be on a list, boo-boo. That's actually crazy.
Yeah, right? You should write those down and be like, hey, we should keep an eye on these individuals.
This next line is crazy, though. Akagami no jailbait, whispered the halls of the Moby Dick. Akagami no jailbait is crazy. Anyway. Akagami no jailbait, whispered the halls of the Moby Dick. That night at the bar, they'd frantically fucked in the bathroom, and then again behind the cover of some bushes by the dock, since it was too risky to sneak him into his room on the ship. Except then he did, because he just couldn't help himself. Shanks had wormed his way into his brain like a parasite, and the first thing on his mind when he woke up was the vision. I ran out of air. Shanks had wormed his way into his brain like a parasite, and the first thing on his mind when he woke up was the vision of pounding Shanks's ass into the mattress. Ooh, to the mattress! Until he screamed out those hot, slutty, and delirious little moans. Oh, he was all up in it.
Good.
It was affecting his work. He couldn't concentrate at all, and he was checking his den for hookup plans like a lovesick teenager. Izo caught on pretty quick. He'd always been perceptive. And, sorry, I just need to, for Izo, because, I love Izo. Fine ass.
There you go.
He'd always been perceptive, and told him to shut it down post-haste for his, post-haste? And told him to shut it down post-haste for his sanity's sake. If Whitebeard caught wind, he'd shit a brick. But there they were. They'd been docked on the same island, and Shanks had sprained his wrist doing God knows what. And Marco couldn't just let him sit there holding a bag of frozen peas on it. I guess.
Yeah. It's hard to resist.
Yeah, get him while he's weak. Shanks had sprained his wrist doing God knows what, and Marco couldn't just let him sit there holding a bag of frozen peas on it. He took him to the ship, to his office, like a good doctor. Shanks took 2 steps forward before his coy smile started to indicate that he had, in fact, not been listening at all. He even had the audacity to lick his lips. Marco tried to repeat himself.
We're done. We can have a strictly medical, professional...
Shanks nodded as he pulled his own t-shirt off of his head, displaying his honey-kissed tan skin and his pert nipples. I wish the word nipples wasn't as funny to me as it is, because every time I hear nipples, it makes me laugh. Let me start again. I'm going to read this seriously. Shanks nodded as he pulled his own t-shirt off of his head, displaying his honey-kissed tan skin and pert nipples, inching closer and closer until Marco felt warm behind his ears. Marco swallowed hard.
Professional... medical...
Shanks's deft fingers were already on their way through unbuttoning Marco's shirt, tugging just a little to untuck it from his pants. Shanks bit his bottom lip.
Yeah?
I want you to drop your voice a little bit. I want to feel the rumble. You have that really nice rasp. And I want you to just kind of stretch the stretch it out.
All right. Yeah.
Marco's thumb betrayed him, landing on Shanks's chin without his permission.
Fuck it.
Marco internally spiraled. One last time for closure, and then never again, he swore. Shanks's arms wrapped around his neck as his own hands found their way to his back, pressing their chests together as they feverishly made out. Shanks tasted like sake. His mouth was deliciously wet and sweet. The whole ordeal was sloppy. He sucked at his tongue and lips and felt his now painfully hard boner grind against Shanks's abdomen as his... I forget he's tall. Oh. Yes, ma'am.
Damn.
That would do something for me. I feel it. I want to put it in my belly button. Was that weird?
Oh, it was fine.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was good.
Thank you. I'm normal. He sucked at his tongue and lips and felt his now painfully hard boner grind against Shanks's abdomen as his legs spread to make space for the older man. Legs he wanted to push apart. Legs he wanted to dangle around his shoulders. He was never going to make a clean break. He felt Shanks's hand patting at his cock, attempting to free it. Free me. Marco pushed himself away, holding out his hand to block the redhead.
No. Fuck, no. No, we can't keep doing this. God damn it, Shanks. I used to be your babysitter.
Shanks undid his sash and let it fall to the floor, his trousers riding impossibly low, drawing Marco's gaze to the ridges of his hips and the dip... Drawing Marco's gaze to the ridges of his hips and the dip down to the little patch of hair on his pelvis.
I know.
Shanks smirked shamelessly.
It's hot.
Yes! Shanks's hands went to unfasten his pants. Marco's eyes darted to the open door. The door was open?
Oh, my God. Like, just wide open. I just started just...
No.
You know, man.
This is a real doctor's office, and, like, the receptionist was right there. Your next patient's in 10 minutes, sir. Marco's eyes darted to the open door. Fuck. He sighed heavily, then closed and locked the door with a click. He felt feral. He felt like a man unhinged. I'm going to say that again. He felt feral. He felt like a man unhinged. Shanks brought out an animal in him that they needed. Shanks brought out an animal in him they needed to feed. Marco, I want you to make an animal noise. What animal was that?
God, I'm a bottom. This is hard.
I'm sorry, I'm reeling from that. Oh my God. Okay.
Feed the animal.
Yeah. Shanks brought out an animal in him they needed to feed. He turned back to him, lunging forward to scoop him up into his arms in one swoop, those slim legs now gripping on around him.
Yeah, nice.
He carried him over to the exam table. He carried them over to the exam table, kissing every inch of Shanks's mouth and neck and clavicle. Down. I think it's funny that they use the word clavicle and not collarbone because, like, Marco's a doctor. He's going to call it a clavicle.
Yeah, it's not a collarbone. No, we're going to use the professional terms.
We're going to use the professional terms.
Medical terms only.
Yeah.
Medical terms, yeah.
Except cock.
The cock exception.
The cock exception. That's great.
He carried them over to the exam table, kissing every inch of Shanks's mouth and neck and clavicle down to his chest to suck and lick until Shanks erupted in broken, needy whines. He threw Shanks onto his back, rough enough that it knocked back a nearby rolling tray. Shanks was grinning, kicking his shoes off, and ecstatic to be getting his way. I'm going to try that again. Shanks was grinning, kicking his shoes off, and ecstatic to be getting his way. Marco yanked down his trousers. No underwear. Typical Shanks. He stopped to stare as, flushed and impatient, completely naked, Shanks leaned back on his elbows, knees drawn up and open to present himself on that exam table like a feast to be devoured. You know in the cartoons when like Bugs Bunny is hungry and he looks at somebody and they look like food? That's what this reminds me of.
Shanks is just a turkey now.
Yeah, it's like when SpongeBob, like when SpongeBob, when he looked at Squidward and he was a Krabby Patty. And he- all roads lead to SpongeBob.
All roads leads to SpongeBob. That's good.
Anyway, go ahead, Marco.
Fuck.
Marco resigned, undoing his own belt and shifting out of his pants. His cock was absolutely leaking at the sight. He grabbed some lubricant off the counter, slathering it onto his erection, and Is Marco also a gynecologist? Because the only reason, to my knowledge, that doctors need lube is for tools that go inside of a vagina. There are no women on the Whitebeard crew.
Well, they do prostate exams.
Yeah, I was gonna say they need a the
Oh,
camera.
yeah.
What's it called? Where they
A
colonoscopy?
colonoscopy.
Yeah.
You think
yeah.
Marco is doing colonoscopies in a fucking wooden doctor's closet?
I mean, he's professional.
On a pirate
man.
ship?
He's professional. He has to. Like, something's wrong with someone's, prostate. They need a doctor there.
Okay, here's the thing about the colonoscopy. All right, let's fucking talk about this. The only way this takes place in the canon One Piece world. This is not an AU. This is not in the modern world. This is in canon One Piece. They're on the ship. The only way they have to see video is through video transponder snails. So so if there is colonoscopy in the canon One Piece world, there is a snail that crawls up someone's ass.
It's the one snail that does it. You don't have multiple snails do it. You can't have oops, this was the anal snail. This needs to stay on the ship.
The snail has one job.
One job.
Or it's going to be some kind of
That poor fucking snail.
some kind of transponder worm or something. There has to be a creature that crawls up the ass. Okay? So everyone think about that. GhostScript, I want you to think about this.
And then that's why the lube's there. That's why we're giving you the in-universe reason.
They slathered the snail up in lube, and they just sent it on an expedition. Remember on South Park, the Lemmy Wings?
Lemmy Wings.
Yeah, Lemmy Wings.
You must find the cave. You will surely die in here.
Fuck. No, exactly.
Ugh.
Exactly. All right, so yeah, there's lube. Okay. Well, I'm glad they're using lube and not
Yes,
spit.
good.
Never use spit as lube, people.
We have the technology.
We have the technology. He grabbed some lubricant off the counter, slathering it onto his erection, and then another squeeze to Shanks's quivering hole. I'll never be okay with reading that. It was cold and made him squirm, which was too fucking cute.
It's pretty cute.
Marco knew his fingers were thicker than... I don't know why it's sending me. Marco knew his fingers were thicker than average. He had big hands that weren't always to his advantage in the medical profession. They were pretty great for opening up horny little brats, though.
Ding.
Yeah.
He let his thumb glide around the entrance first, making sure it was slick. He pushed one finger in, then two. Let me collect myself. He put...
You got it.
I know. I was doing so good. I even read cock. He pushed one finger in, then two, as Shanks moaned for more. He wanted to tell Shanks to be quiet. There were literally people right outside doing their work like he was supposed to be.
That door was open, man.
They saw him.
No wonder he ran to the door first. Oh God, we gotta close the door.
Fuck.
Yeah, Shanks has no, what's the word? Shame, I guess.
No. Shameless Shanks.
Shameless Shanks.
Shameless Shanks. He wanted to tell Shanks to be quiet. There were literally people right outside doing their work like he was supposed to be. Knowing Shanks, though, he'd make it a point to be louder. He got off on that shit. It just feels funny for me as a narrator to say that. He got off on that shit. How do I even say that?
That was good. That was good.
Make it a point to be louder. He got off on that shit. He got off on so many things, and that was half the problem. It was sexy as hell, though. Knowing people thought he was in here working when really... No one thinks that. No one
Everybody
thinks...
saw.
They know what you're doing. They saw you go in there. Shut up. It was sexy as hell, though. Knowing people thought he was in here working when really he was about to plunge his cock in the tight ass of a pretty young thing who begged for it. I want to love you, PYT, pretty young thing. I can sing, I swear. It's just an off day.
Yeah. It sounded good to me.
Thank you. He was about to plunge his cock in the tight ass. Plunge his cock in the tight ass of a pretty young thing who begged for it. He pushed in a third finger, moving around to stretch the ring as Shanks bucked up, trying to suck up more of him. Marco stroked at Shanks' shaft as he lined himself up, teasing at the hole with his tip. He briefly thought about what medical instruments he could stick in there first.
You know, there's a lot of options.
What's the opposite of a ding? Did we decide yet?
It is.
That's a no.
Yeah.
That's a no for me, Marco. No on the speculum and the, yeah, it's going to be a no. He briefly thought about what medical instruments he could stick in there first, just to see him take it. He also knew that if he fucked him right now in his state, he would not last long. He flipped Shanks onto his stomach, grabbing his thighs to slide him further down the edge of the table. He thought he heard footsteps outside the door and felt his heart race as he paused. Shanks arched his back to lift his butt closer.
Marco, fuck me already.
Marco looked down to Shanks's face, pressed down against the blue vinyl. The paper parchment topper already ripped to shreds. The little hellion was looking back, heavy-lidded and already almost blissed out, waiting to be taken. Marco reached out to press his fingers against his soft lips. Shanks sucked them greedily, wiggling his rear.
Marco, I need your cock.
I want you to say it again.
Okay.
I want you to do the exact same thing and emphasize the word need.
Okay. Marco, I need your cock.
It's a shock. So, yeah. Thank you. That was great, Julia. As if moving on its own volition, his cock honed in and bottomed out with one hefty thrust, balls slapping loudly against skin, and the rustle of paper beneath them. Marco leaned forward, weight on Shanks's back, buried impossibly deep inside him to the point he swore he could feel the press on the table. Oh! Wait, hold on. That's belly bulge, and that was not tagged, right? He buried impossibly deep inside him to the point he swore he could feel the press on the table. Right? Yeah. So, like, he has Shanks on his stomach, and he's hitting it from behind, so he's...
Damn.
Marco, you're not that
Damn.
big. Are you that big? Is that a ding? I'm going to ding for the girlies who are into belly bulge. All right, go ahead, Marco.
What was that?
Shanks giggled. That's a choice.
Yeah,
Just
That's a giggle, though. That's a giggle. I said I need that.
Marco thrust again, cutting him off. He nibbled at Shanks's ear, licked the lobe, whispered in a low tone.
I can't hear you. Use your words, Akagami.
Oh, fuck. Yes.
No, yeah, I like that read. Shanks caught on quickly that as soon as he spoke, he'd be fucked into again, since Marco was enjoying the hiccuped breaths and pants. He answered a little louder, too, to egg him on.
Pound that big, oh yes, fat fucking cock in my ass.
That was a little too good. That was,
you know, maybe I.
No, it's great. That was the perfect read. It's just, God, that's gonna be tough for the editing. It's gonna be like, oh God, Julian.
If only I was gay. Audience,
listeners, if you didn't know, Jules is straight. We have a real heterosexual in here.
Yeah, man,
I know like 5 of them.
Yeah.
And
I know 5.
I know like 5 of them.
I'm
Jules is one of them. There we go.
Here we go. All right.
Thank you for your service.
You're
yeah,
welcome.
thank you for your service. Recipes to all the soldiers. I dive in her cervix. Okay. Okay. All right. Serious. Marco grunted. Let me try again. Marco grunted. Fuck. Marco grunted, slapping his palm over Shanks's mouth to muffle him as his space turned. One more fucking motherfucking dick shit.
Hey, we're all reading
Bitch.
a bunch, so it's fine.
Fuck.
This is why we're doing it.
Marco grunted, slapping his palm over Shanks's mouth to muffle him. Slapping his palm over Shanks's mouth to muffle him as his pace turned brutal. He fucked into him so hard that he swore the exam table shifted. Shanks, and keep in mind, it's got to be mounted because they're on a boat.
Yeah, man.
But I mean, Marco's really strong.
I mean, he's tall, right? Yeah, there you go.
Yes. Shanks's mouth was hot against his skin, drooling and fighting to stay agape as he cried out. Marco angled himself to hit Shanks's sweet spot, his own orgasm building. It was too soon. He wanted to draw it out longer. This was the last time, after all, he swore. He pulled out and stood back, admiring how wrecked Shanks looked, legs trembling. Admiring how wrecked Shanks looked, legs trembling. Shanks whimpered. Marco slapped his ass.
Climb on top of me.
Shanks complied. Once Shanks was fucked, he really was a docile little lamb. Aren't we all? Aren't we all?
We all just docile little lambs after that.
Hashtag relatable.
Absolutely. After you fuck me good, you can hold me by the scruff of my neck like a cat. Once Shanks was fucked, he really was a docile little lamb. They switched positions, and with help from Marco, Shanks crawled into his lap and impaled himself on his waiting member. The language. Shanks crawled into his lap and impaled himself on his waiting member. Once he was good and filled, his eyes rolled back in his head.
Feels good.
Marco asked, brushing his cheek.
So fucking good.
Shanks slurred back. Marco took him by the hands and thrust up. Fuck, I can never ring the bell. Marco took him by the hands and thrust up, signaling Shanks to start bouncing. Shanks rolled his hips, languid at first, then faster, using his weight to push down further. When he started to slow again, Marco squeezed the meat of his ass cheeks, pulling them apart as he... Please do that carefully, listeners. If you're pulling booty cheeks apart, please understand it will rip if you do it too hard.
Be gentle to the booties.
Be gentle to the booty hole. That skin is so delicate. I'm a victim. I have been ripped.
Jesus.
I am a survivor.
Yeah, you are. I'm a booty hole rip survivor.
Shout out to everybody who ever had somebody pull your butt cheeks apart way too fast and like that skin at the top of the crack just ripped. It happened to me, and it takes a really long time for that to heal.
Yeah, Jesus Christ, you deserve a Purple Heart.
Yeah.
Rest in peace to all the soldiers that died in the service. I dive in her cervix. I hope everybody knows what that song is, and not that I'm being a dick to the veterans.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I can't stop thinking about it. Who was that, 2 Chainz? Marco squeezed the meat of his ass cheeks, pulling them apart as he lifted and dropped him back down. His walls were tightening with every movement. Marco didn't even realize he was swearing out loud, fire coiling inside him. He started to stroke Shanks's neglected cock, thumbing over the slit. He started to exert all his focus on getting Shanks to come first, to save a semblance of his dignity. He was like, I cannot go out like a bitch. I cannot go out like a bitch. I have to go out like a top, like a real dom top. Marco wagered he needed better momentum. He sat up, bending Shanks in half, his body a contorted pretzel as he fucked into him methodically, jerking him off with one free hand and wrapping the other around Shanks's neck to choke him like the little freak he. One more time. He sat up, bending Shanks in half, his body contorted his body a contorted pretzel as he fucked into him methodically, jerking him off with one free hand and wrapping the other around Shanks' neck to choke him like the little freak liked.
Ding.
Ding. He attacked his mouth with his tongue, probing every space. Shanks was gripping onto the sides of the table for dear life.
Oh, yes, oh, my God. Yes, Farco. Full far quad. Oh, fuck yes, Marco. Harder. Yes.
Marco was about to spasm. What?
That's what happened.
Fairy godparents!
I wasn't expecting Crocker.
If the creator of Fairly Odd Parents, who is a very
Super
conservative Christian man,
conservative Christian,
knew about this show.
We should just make a Cosmo and Wanda episode and just be like, hey,
watch me read a fucking Cosmo and Wandissimo Magnifico fic just to fuck with them. Shout out, besties. If you have the hookup on the Fairy Odd Parents smut, send that to my fucking doorstep. onepieceoftrashpod@gmail.com or message me on Instagram, TikTok, or Blue Sky. Like, I want to see that shit. Show me some fucking Fairy Odd Parents. I want to see that shit. All right. Marco was about to spasm. Now I can't stop thinking about it.
That's all I had in my head.
Marco was about to spasm. He could feel the sparks tingling through him.
You ready for me to fill you up? I'm about to come all the way up inside you and make you limp back to your ship, dripping and leaking my seed. You can bend over and show old man Beckman how good I fucked you.
Shanks smiled through the struggled gasps. Marco couldn't hold out any longer. The way Shanks looked was too much, his hole milking his cock for all it's worth.
You gonna take my load like a good little slut?
Yes, Doctor.
That was great. Let's try a take where holding for crime, police
Holding
sirens.
for crime.
Damn it, Long Beach. Can we go one day? Try to say, I still want the breath in between yes and doctor, but try to keep the pitch equal on yes and doctor. I just want to see what that would sound like.
Yes, Doctor.
I like that. Does it kind of make you think of Little Shop of Horrors?
Yes, a little bit, yeah.
Yes, doctor.
That's it. Man.
Fuck. He came so intensely hard that his nut made a hole in the wall.
Jesus.
The end.
The end.
Just kidding. Fuck. He came so intensely hard, his vision blurred, and he almost passed out. As Shanks felt Marco's release, he too finally came, in big spurts against their chests and a little in his own hair. Oh, wow.
Oh, damn.
That's with gusto.
That's messy.
Freeing his throat, Marco lazily pumped the aftershocks, not actor shocks. Freeing his throat, Marco lazily pumped the aftershocks into him, loving the squelch. Shanks looked disassembled. Avengers, disassemble. Shanks looked disassembled. Semen dripped. Why did that make me break?
Yeah, the semen was the one that did it.
Because they're pirates.
they're semen.
They're semen. Ding for the pun. The word semen is sending me.
I mean, it's a funny word.
Yeah,
even
God. Okay, all right. Whew. Ah,
nipples.
Okay. Why would you say nipples?
Get your mind off semen.
Okay. Okay, all right. For real.
Right.
Semen dripped out around his shaft, but rather than pull out all the way, he just pushed in as much as he could and stayed there. Marco panted for air, finally letting go of Shanks to wipe the sweat from his brow. He was getting too old for this. He was 2 days from retirement.
By almost 30.
He was getting too old for this. And this is how old Marco is. He's so old. An almost 30-year-old man. He's 29.
I feel old.
He's 29. Come, get...
Yeah, and for a pirate, that's a long time.
Oh, fair, but like, get your fucking ass in the game. Get your inhaler and get back in the ring. You're not old enough to put in the hours, put in the time. It's about drive. It's about power. We stay hungry.
He's a pirate. Come on. He's a doctor. He's burnt out.
Marco ain't been fucking that much for him to be burnt out on dick like this.
Nah.
Like, get it together, okay? You have 20 more years before you need that little blue pill. All right? He was getting too old for this. An almost 30-year-old man trying to compete with a 19-year-old minx beneath him. Marco sighed, peppering kisses across Shanks' sticky stomach and his face cracking into a smile.
Fuck.
Shanks' hand found its way to Marco's hair, a contented huff escaping his lips. Marco looked up to meet his eyes. He was so beautiful. His big auburn doe eyes sleepy and blown out with lust. Marco kissed him, pressing their bodies together in a mess of semen and perspiration. Unding. I can't do it. I can't do the mess.
Yeah, you gotta clean yourself up before we
Yeah,
cuddle.
at least wipe a little.
Yeah.
He pushed the mess of damp red from Shanks' face.
I'm gonna miss this.
Shanks scoffed.
Nobody's telling you to stop.
Yeah. Marco hummed. A knock on the door woke them back to reality. Izo was outside. Oh, crap, I forgot about Izo. I'll read for him.
Just a sec.
Marco answered, panicked and dressing himself as fast as he could, tossing Shanks' clothes from the floor to his lap. Shanks hobbled like a fawn off the exam table. That's so funny.
Just see it. Just I'm like, my legs are jello.
That's the song Side to Side by Ariana Grande. That's what that's about.
Really?
Yeah, got me walking side to side.
Oh.
That's what it's about. Been
Oh,
here
shit.
all night. That's what it's, yeah.
Oh shit! Yeah.
Been here all day, yeah. Yeah, that's what the song is about.
She wrote this song about Marco.
Yeah. Marco and Shanks.
She read this one and was like, "Ooh, I got a perfect
yeah.
song for this."
Yep. Shanks hobbled like a fawn off of the exam table, pulling on his trousers and shirt. Marco was about to open the door when he noticed the glob of semen dried on...
Shanks, you dirty bitch.
Not the glob. Marco was about to open the door when he noticed the glob of semen dried in Shanks' rat's nest of hair, so he grabbed a wet wipe and tried to towel it out. All the while, Shanks finding the whole situation hilarious. When he looked as presentable as he could, Marco opened the door to a very irritated-looking Izo. Shanks smiled and waved goodbye as Izo glared. I'll read Izo for now. I'll find somebody else to do it for the audiobook version. There is not enough bleach in the East Blue to sterilize what you two just did in this room. Marco put on his glasses.
I don't know what you mean. I was just treating a wrist injury.
And that is the end of Frustrations on the Job by Marco the Phoenix. Final thoughts.
You know, that was intense.
Yeah.
That was a little intense.
That's kind of a lot,
Yeah,
this
that was a lot.
one.
It was good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well written.
It is
Very
well written.
well written.
Mhm.
You know, a lot of.
This author, GhostScript,
Yeah,
also
GhostScript's-
wrote It's Complicated,
Yeah.
which we are also currently recording. This is one of my favorite fanfic authors. Everything they write, I want to read. I just love the way GhostScript writes. I love the way that GhostScript is really good at getting into each character's head. So every time you read something, like the fic they're writing currently, we're in it's way over 100 chapters. It's very long. And I've been with it the entire year that it's been being released, and it's still releasing new chapters. It
Great.
Switches viewpoints from person to person. So the language that this author uses to write for Mihawk is so different from what's going on in Buggy's head. It's so different from Marco, so different from Shanks. Yeah. It's really, really cool the way that they're so easily able to capture the internal monologue of all these different characters, and everyone's different. You know who you're reading. No two people are the same.
Yeah, I'm not feeling I'm reading the same person over and over again. It is like, wow, they understand each individual
Yeah,
character.
and this is definitely from Marco's point of view. But this, very, very interesting to see. And I love the way that they write. Benny and the Jets, final thoughts on this. This is your first one, so you're no longer a virgin. Congratulations.
Yay! Yeah, I liked it a lot. This was the first thing I'd ever read from this author. I hadn't read any other stuff before. But yeah, I really like that you can tell that they clearly have their own style, which I think is really cool when you can see that in different authors. Yeah, it was short and sweet, but it also like really packed a punch. Like a lot happened in that. It was very intense.
Yes, yeah, a lot happened, especially in the exposition part. And this author is just so not nice to Shanks. Not nice to anybody. Everybody suffers at the hands of GhostScript. GhostScript does not shy away from things being gritty and dirty and sometimes gross at times. And I actually really appreciate that because I think it's done tastefully. I have read works by published authors, best-selling authors that I thought was just vulgar for the sake of vulgarity. And the way that GhostScript writes, like, yes, there is a lot of sex, drugs, rock and roll, and not a lot of it is great, and it's not all happy, and it's not always consensual, but it always, I feel, is rooted in a place of storytelling, of redemption, of education, of...
Feels genuine.
It feels like it's always coming from a genuine place. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, not just used for like shock value.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like of course, Shanks would be bent over, like getting railed. Like, the situation makes sense in that situation. You know? Shanks is a little whore.
Shanks is persistent.
Shanks is very persistent.
Yeah. All right.
More bottom Shanks is what goes.
More bottom Shanks 2026. We're running on the platform of more bottom Shanks. Because truly, I think Buggy would top him.
Ooh, there you go.
Truly, I think Buggy's topping.
I love Shuggy, and I agree. I kind of see them as like switching sometimes, but absolutely, Buggy is going to be topping sometimes. I mean, his dick can detach, so of course he's going to put that to use.
Exactly. With Buggy, you could just take the dick to go. you can get drive-through dick. Like, I am cool with that.
Hell yeah.
Big fan, actually.
Oh, drive-through dick.
Yeah. Let's wrap this shit up, y'all. Thanks so much for listening. I want to say a hearty hey, what's up, hello to all of our new fans who are just discovering this podcast. I recently went viral on TikTok for something that has little to no relation to this particular podcast. So if you are here because you saw me cuss out a Harriet Tubman denier and give lessons on Black history and media literacy, I'm sorry. I make gay porn about a 30-year-old Japanese comic book. Welcome if you fuck with it, but so long goodbye if you don't. No hard feelings. Don't forget to follow us on all the sociables. One Piece of Trash Pod on TikTok and Instagram. On Blue Sky, onepieceoftrashpod.bsky.social. On Tumblr, One Piece of Trash Podcast. Shout out to Mac, who now runs our Tumblr. If you message the Tumblr, someone will actually respond in a timely manner. And there are going to be posts, people. So say thank you to Mac for that. If you talk on the Tumblr, you're talking to Mac. We love ya. At the end of each show, I'm going to be doing some shout-outs based on our analytic data on Spotify. Today, I want to give a big shout-out to the 73.5% of our audience that identifies as female. Meow, 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 meow. Hey, girl. I love you so much. You are our largest demographic worldwide. You keep us afloat. You run the world. Girls. Shout out to the ladies, and if you're a lesbian fujoshi, please let me know in the Spotify comments so I can shout you out personally. Shout out to all the lesbians who like gay porn for no reason. Anybody else got something to say?
I think we're good.
Oh, all right. Let's go take a cold shower, fuck ICE, ACAB, and fuck Donald Trump.
Woo!